You guys look at कि ethical decision ले पा रहा है कि नहीं पा रहा, business decision ले पा रहा है कि नहीं पा रहा. The correct answer in the old papers of that is, I've seen, is not always the most ethical and happy-go-lucky decision.
So this is a confusion, I guess, and this is a myth around decision making. Number one, if you can game decision making, then actually we have failed to make a good question paper, right? This is a section which is very difficult to game. In fact, the entire XAT paper is very difficult to game. That's what I am telling from the very beginning. That if you can think, you can actually do wonders. I know lots of students who have actually come to Excel and have done wonders over here. They didn't prepare for XAT at all. They just went, took the exam, could make it to the top guys and also studied with us.
मत बोलो सर, ये पढ़ाई करना छोड़ देंगे सर. बहुत मुश्किल से कैट के बाद इनको मैं बोलता हूँ पढ़ाई कर ले, मत देखना, stop doing it.
I don't know उसको कैसे इंटरप्रेट करते हैं. अगर आप वो पढ़ाई कर ना करके अगर इतना कर सकते हैं तो पढ़ाई करके कितना कर सकते हैं.
Thank you so much for that.
Right.
पढ़ लेना, सर की बात मत सुनो. Hi everyone, welcome on board. XAT is around the corner और हमारे साथ बैठे हैं राहुल शुक्ला सर, who is the paper setter this year. Sir, welcome on board.
Thank you.
Sir, are you the paper setter for this year, like the guy who's setting up decision making, verbal ability for that?
So let me correct you here. Paper setters never come to these forums to discuss about anything. I'm not a part of that team, but definitely I'm taking care of admissions.
Okay. So are you the convener?
Yeah. So I'm an admissions.
So do you know the paper setter?
I know when I
सब पता है सर को झूठ बोल रहे हैं.
There's a different team which works on papers. They have no touch with us.
Okay.
We only get to know that paper is getting conducted, and once the results are out, we take care of everything.
Okay, this is so amazing. Boys and girls, please welcome the fifth convener I am meeting in my life. And I was lucky to spend some time with Gurunathan sir. He was the convener in 2019, 2020 and 2021.
Yes.
And then Rajiv Sharma sir, he was the paper setter, na, sir, for 10 years.
Probably he was. Currently he is.
Sir, कुछ नहीं बताते. He was the guy who invented so-called decision making. मैंने उनके साथ 1 घंटा spend किया है. But any which ways. And then Munish Thakur, he was a convener, I think, between 2010 to 15 के बीच में 2 years.
I guess around 15, 16.
15, 16. And Vishwa Vallabh sir for the last year as well. So भाई, fifth convener is coming on the channel. Let's go and ask him some tough questions. Sir, पहली बात, XAT का पेपर इस बार मुश्किल आने वाला है, easy आने वाला है, सबको बता दो.
So very difficult question because paper is never difficult. Perception is different. I would say if you are preparing for XAT, don't go with this perception. It would be a difficult paper. XAT is a simple paper, a manageable paper, which requires you to think. अगर आप सोच के questions के answers करोगे, XAT is one of the best exams to take. So yeah, it's not going to be difficult. It's only a perception, I guess. You should overcome that perception. You all are amazing, and when we create XAT, and our team creates XAT papers, they know that it is actually a right thing or right tool to evaluate the candidates who can do wonders in these schools.
That's so amazing. Sir, how has that been evolved over a period of time? If you look at sir, paper तो tough होता है आपका 2008, 9, 10 के अंदर अगर आप देख लो. I know you are in XLRI past 8 years, but I gave that 2007, 2008, and it was like so. Sir, by the way, खुद Fulbright scholar है, and he's a PhD in English himself, and he's the assistant professor at XLRI. He's one of the most loved professors at Excel as well. Sir, coming back to the point, so it used to be tough, sir.
I don't know because मैंने सारे papers देखे हैं. When I became the convener in June, I started going through all the papers. I guess the quality of questions which were actually there when I guess you took the exam, the quality has not changed much, but definitely context has changed. Because earlier we were into paper-based exam. So in paper-based exam, students get more time, they can touch, they can feel. But when it comes to online exams, there is always a fatigue, right? Screen fatigue. Right. So keeping that in mind, definitely passages have changed. थोड़ा size छोटा हो गया है, right? Passages इतने ज़्यादा लंबे नहीं हैं क्योंकि बच्चों को scroll करना पड़ता है, problems आती है तो उसको take care किया गया है. But in the quality of questions, there is no change.
Right. And that is a different exam. Let's ask some. मैं सब कुछ पूछने वाला हूँ सर से, तो वीडियो पूरा end तक सुनना और ये save करना. जब भी XAT exam के 10 दिन पहले भी देखूँगा, I'm gonna make sure that सर से हम कुछ बातें उगलवाएं जो सर कभी नहीं बताते. Nevertheless, सर ये XAT, चलो ये बता दो सर, is XAT more difficult कि CAT more difficult? और तुम लोग कमेंट के अंदर बताना is XAT more difficult कि CAT more. जिन लोगों ने दिया है XAT या पेपर पुराने देखे हुए हैं, सर what's your take on that?
Again, I will repeat the same thing because I'm not a part of CAT, so I don't know about CAT. But as far as XAT is concerned, it is a manageable, smart exam. If you are smart, you think critically, you can think from different perspectives. आपके लिए XAT is a very easy nut to crack. बस आपको थोड़ा दिमाग लगाना है. It's not like an exam where you just cram a few things, you get into rote learning and go and take, and then you will learn a formula to crack. It's not like that. Even if you know things, if you don't learn the application of those things, you may not be able to crack that. And that is why people say it's difficult. It's not difficult. You just have to focus on the application, and then you do wonders.
Excellent. So these things happen after you're done with the exam, results are out, and your Excel shortlist is being prepared, student is on campus. So sir, is this number clear कि say for example 70,000 लोगों ने XAT के लिए appear किया, 80,000 जो भी number होगा इस बार, and how many students are going to get calls for this? क्या ballpark range बता दो sir? I know you're not going to tell us exact range, exact number.
So again, it depends. Lump sum, like there is a range, I would say. So I cannot tell you the exact number because I have just taken over the office. Very difficult. But between 2,000 and 3,000 students we call for interviews.
For how many seats total, sir? BM now has increased. XL BM is 180.
Right. So
plus HR is 120.
So XL BM in Delhi is 180.
180.
When it comes to XL Jamshedpur and when it comes to our BM program, it is around 220 students in our BM program, right? And when it comes to and then when it comes to HRM program, we have around 180 students.
180 students, okay.
So it's like a huge number.
Wow, so amazing. But that's a good. So ballparks are 4x calls, है ना? 4x to 5x calls.
You can think like that, yes.
Yeah, so that. Great. Sir, one more question which a lot of people have this, but I got to know looking at the results of my students was that there is no official reserved quota in XLRI. We don't display that, if I'm not wrong.
Yes. So, see, we want people who are underprivileged, right, who are not a part of the mainstream. Definitely, we want those students to join XLRI. We want such people to be a part of our Excel culture, and we want to promote what we as a country, as a nation are doing. We also want to contribute to that. Obviously, we are doing that, right? But yes, obviously, majorly XLRI has always been a merit-based school, right?
XAT 2024 का official document आपने release किया है, which is in my hands. So around 26 questions are going to be for verbal and logical reasoning, decision making 22 questions. Total time is 175 minutes for the part number 1, which includes quant and DI, which is 28 questions. Part number 2 is your mock testing keyboard अपना test करिए, and you guys spend 5 minutes on that and type it out and enjoy and check your systems. Part number 3 is your general knowledge plus analytical writing assessment. GK and analytical writing is going to be tested later on once you get a call from XLRI. Am I right, sir?
Yeah, correct.
Great. Let's deep dive into the paper and understand from the convener himself. So let's hack the paper. Let's go one by one. मेरे को बड़ा मजा आता है क्वेश्चन पूछने के लिए. मैं तो सर खुले क्वेश्चन पूछने वाला हूँ. You can choose to ignore whichever you feel like. All right, sir.
Sure, yeah.
So let's talk about verbal section. सर एक पहली बात तो आपने जो official जो अपना overview दिया है XAT का, उसके अंदर about 26 बोला है और decision making बोला है about 22. और ये पहली बार है XAT के पेपर के अंदर कोई कन्वीनर आके बोल रहे हैं, as I told, I've met Gurunathan and the whole gang one by one, राजीव शर्मा सर, कभी नहीं बोला. What is about, sir? You can change this, sir. ये नंबर चेंज करेंगे आप?
About means a bit like I told you, right? Admissions office works with a team which actually works on questions, right? So कई बार ऐसा होता है कि उनके पास एक एक्स्ट्रा क्वेश्चन होता है जो इम्पोर्टेंट होता है, और वो क्योंकि हर क्वेश्चन का जब when that question goes to a question paper, हर क्वेश्चन का एक ऑब्जेक्टिव होता है. अगर वो ऑब्जेक्टिव इम्पोर्टेंट है तो उसको हम हटा नहीं सकते. तो इसलिए वी कीप अबाउट सो दैट +-1 +-2 अगर कुछ ऐसा हो सकता है तो ऐड कर देते हैं.
You can.
हाँ, बट ये है कि मोस्टली द नंबर विच हैज़ बीन गिवन इन द ओवरव्यू, वी ट्राई टू स्टिक टू दैट नंबर. But if there is a very important question and without this question we will not be able to actually measure a particular dimension of a particular student, we definitely would like to have that question in the question paper.
This is the first time you're doing a mock also, right?
Yes.
Ever in the history of that?
No, we do mock, normally we do mock right before the exam after the registration is over to understand how the exam would be conducted.
Achha.
But that is just like a dry run kind of a thing where you learn how to get into the exam. This year we have initiated.
That's for the students every year.
हाँ.
अच्छा होता है.
हाँ, वो होता है but towards the end.
End होता है, like few weeks before.
Few days before the exam होता है. Is like students get aware of what is the process.
Yeah.
This year we have deliberately decided that we would give some chances to students before the exam itself, at least 2 chances, जिससे कि वो एक पहले तो awareness आएगा exam
At least 2 chances. एक और mock आएगा.
there is another mock.
How relevant this mock is going to be to the actual XAT paper?
Because we have not changed anything dramatically in our paper, right? हमने कोई ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं किया है जो एकदम अलग तरीके का क्वेश्चंस आएंगे. तो जिस लाइंस पे क्वेश्चंस पास्ट में आते थे उस उन्हीं ऑन द सेम लाइंस दिस ईयर आल्सो वी विल हैव our all the 3 sections.
Got it.
Right. So idea is to like just make them aware and also give them an opportunity to take that exam. They are doing those things at different places, but we want that to be done officially from us, because if a candidate has applied for XLRI, it's or for XAT or for our other associate schools, it's our responsibility to help them understand what that would be.
Superb. No, it's a fair deal, because let's go to the first of all the most notorious section, verbal ability, जो मैं भी पढ़ाता हूँ. So verbal ability के अंदर the official syllabus says that their reading comprehension, including poems, passages, vocabulary, English grammar, or parajumble and close test, etc. Sir, can we get some hints from there? ये तो पक्का पढ़िए, of course, if you prepare more hard on these.
So I guess normally this is a perception that the verbal of XAT is the most difficult section. I guess that's an injustice to our
It's
exam.
not a perception. That's true. 2007 से लेके 2011 का पेपर खोल लीजिए and फिर मुझे आके कमेंट करिए.
तो 2011 को 10 साल हो चुके हैं अभी तो it's a past thing.
Agree, sir. The level has definitely become more manageable in your terms. How Gurunathan sir says that it's more manageable, yeah.
So I would say that if you are a reader, not a voracious reader, even if you are not a voracious reader, if you are a normal reader who reads newspapers, magazines, or something like articles, blogs, you can easily handle verbal.
Got it.
And questions also are based on your understanding. If you understand your passage well, you can answer all the questions.
Got it, sir. Let's move to the second part, which is
By the way, let me cut you here. Something which is very important I would like to talk about. Lots of students talk about something called poem in verbal.
Yeah.
Right? And they believe poem should not be a part of reading comprehensions, right? The message is very clear. We live in a world where we have to deal with prose, we have to deal with poetry, right? You work in an office, you just don't go work with your right brain, you also have to use your left brain, right? So we want a manager to be sound with both the creative aspect and the analytical aspect. So we want you to, though our questions in poem section are mostly analytical, but we want you to appreciate that too, and that is the message we want to give, right? So at XLRI we value everything, be it prose or poetry.
Superb, sir. That's so amazing. फिर इस बार पोएम के एक दो सवाल आ सकते हैं?
Obviously poem हमारा trademark है.
क्या बात है भाई, देख लो अभी मुझे मत पूछना सर, पोएम के सवाल आ ही रहे हैं.
Upgrading our syllabus, right? And that is why this etc. is there.
Got it. Sir, it has been seen over the past couple of years, even CAT per se and even NMAT per se, like arithmetic has been one of the most favorite topics of all the examinations,
Correct.
right? For 2 questions. First of all, is it going to be a similar case at XAT?
That I cannot comment because I am not a part of question paper committee.
Okay.
But I would say that
That's a lie, sir, the convener of that examination, but
but I would say that definitely whatever we have given, you will get questions on those lines.
Okay.
Right. And best way of understanding what kind of questions we ask, it is always advised to go to our old question paper.
Look at the old papers. This is the gold mine. मेरे नहीं सुनते सर, convener की तो सुन लो, paper setter की तो सुन लो, तो it's going to be really amazing, sir.
Obviously.
Great.
तो कोशिश रहती है कि questions उन्हीं lines पे दिए जाएं, क्योंकि हम students को भी confuse नहीं करना चाहते हैं, और we also understand कि the kind of pressure they go through, the kind of efforts they put. So we respect that. And we don't change things dramatically or drastically.
बहुत ही बढ़िया. Let's move to the elephant in the room. Sir, ये नया section है, decision making. So more or less 1/3 weightage to a section called decision making. I was lucky to spend some time with Sharma ji, who is the founder or the inventor of a thing called decision making. Sir, आज उसको हम समझेंगे थोड़ा. Officially, what you've launched, you've said like you're required to apply critical thinking, problem solving skills, and prioritization to make a informed decision. But sir, what this decision making section is and how to hack this?
So again, I'm not an expert of decision making, right? But definitely we know what goes into decision making and what we expect. See, number one, we all have to understand when it comes to solving a scenario, the way we create scenarios and give in our exam, is like when you are solving, you have to think like a person who is actually at the center of that scenario. अगर आप उसकी तरह नहीं सोच रहे हैं तो आप केस को सॉल्व नहीं कर सकते, right? At the same time, you also have to understand what are the resources available. Now, I guess the issue with which students face is that they always look for the best solution or the optimal solution. But that's not how life behaves with us, right? Sometimes we don't have resources, so we have to settle with suboptimal solutions. So in that context, can they understand what will be the best option based on resources available? So I guess एक simple सा logic है कि जितने resources available हैं उसकी basis पे क्या एक particular decision मैं arrive कर सकता हूँ, और वो भी मेरे perspective से नहीं, the person who is in that particular scenario उसके perspective से, because you as a student might think very differently from the person who is already in that scenario. So you have to look at that particular scenario from that person's perspective and understand and then apply the given resources or the given information. You may arrive at a right decision.
Got it, sir. Got it. You guys look at के ethical decision ले पा रहा है कि नहीं पा रहा, business decision ले पा रहा है कि नहीं पा रहा. The correct answer in the old papers of that is, I've seen, is not always the most ethical and happy-go-lucky decision.
हाँ, so this is a confusion, I guess, and this is a myth around decision making. Number one, if you can game decision making, then actually we have failed to make a good question paper, right? This is a section which is very difficult to game. In fact, the entire XAT paper is very difficult to game. That's what I am telling from the very beginning. That if you can think, you can actually do wonders. I know lots of students who have actually come to Excel and have done wonders over here. They didn't prepare for XAT at all. They just went, took the exam, could make it to the top guys and also studied with us.
मत बोलो सर, ये पढ़ाई करना छोड़ देंगे सर, बहुत मुश्किल से कैट के बाद इनको मैं बोलता हूँ पढ़ाई कर ले, they're going to stop doing it.
I don't know उसको कैसे इंटरप्रेट करते हैं. अगर आप वो पढ़ाई ना करके अगर इतना कर सकते हैं तो पढ़ाई करके कितना कर सकते हैं.
Thank you so much for that.
Right.
पढ़ लेना, सर की बात मत सुनो. So the last part of the deck, hope you guys are enjoying so far. If yes, do it on the like button, हाँ, और नीचे कमेंट करिए पहले वाले क्वेश्चन का आपका आंसर कौन सा है. Sir, negative marking of that is really weird.
Why are you calling it weird?
Sir, come on, sir. एक तो इनको समझाते समझाते मेरी सर उम्र निकल जाती है. पहले सर 0.25 नेगेटिव आप करते हैं for the wrong attempt. No doubt in that. ये बहुत ही बढ़िया है.
ठीक है.
Well, CAT से बढ़िया. CAT is 0.3, right? And you are 0.25, which is nicer. Unanswered questions पहले 8, no negative marking. मतलब आप 8 क्वेश्चन छोड़ सकते हैं.
Correct.
फिर उसके
आप
ऊपर
छोड़ कुछ भी नहीं सकते.
अच्छा.
I want you all to attempt every question, right? But we don't want you to attempt every question randomly.
अच्छा.
You think, you decide and do. So idea is not to discourage you from attempting. We want you to attempt, but we also want you to think through, right? Negative marking से obviously आप discourage होते हैं, right? But हम ये भी नहीं चाहते हैं कि आप इतना discourage हो जाएं कि फिर आप छोड़ ही दें. तो इसलिए हमने आगे 8 questions के बाद एक negative marking रखा हुआ है कि आपको याद आ जाए. अगर आपने
8 ही क्यों है सर ये?
एक फिगर है, हम लोगों का अपना एक एनालिसिस उसकी बेस पे निकाला.
अच्छा.
तो
there's a different hat sir we are wearing. I'm wearing a tutor's hat or a YouTuber's hat to give information. तो मैं इनको बोलता हूँ कि 8 क्वेश्चन आपको आप छोड़ सकते हो, राइट? तो आप पेपर से तो आप ये बोल रहे हो मतलब छोड़ सकते हो, नहीं आता है तो राइट, नहीं आता है तो आप छोड़ सकते हो.
अब हम ये भी नहीं एक्सपेक्ट करते कि सारे स्टूडेंट्स को सब कुछ आता है. दैट आल्सो वी डोंट एक्सपेक्ट, दैट वुड आल्सो नॉट बी गुड. But we want students to enjoy the paper.
Right. Sir, GK section. Let's talk about GK section. Sir, इस बार आपने ऑफिशियली बता दिया है in the paper कि भाई हम GK बोलेंगे, 25 सवाल पूछेंगे, 30 मिनट्स का टाइम देंगे और आपको GK which is part number 3, GK और एनालिटिकल राइटिंग का ऐसे भी लिखना है वहाँ पे.
Correct.
ठीक है. और आपने बता दिया कि 3 टॉपिक देंगे, ऐसे पक्का है ना सर? 3 टॉपिक.
3 ही रहेगा ये. करेक्ट.
3 टॉपिक इस बार आएंगे. बहुत बढ़िया. ये सर मैंने भी फीडबैक दिया था XAT अथॉरिटीज़ को, गुरुनाथन सर एंड द टीम को, क्या आप पूछते हो जिंगोइज्म एंड कैपिटलिज्म कैन नॉट एग्जिस्ट और बच्चों को मतलब नहीं पता. ये एक्चुअल टॉपिक है, गुरुनाथन सर ने दिया था 2007.
बच्चों को अब सब पता है वैसे. दे आर वेरी इंटेलिजेंट. यू जस्ट गो एंड चेक देयर कमेंट्स. यू विल सी द काइंड ऑफ थिंग्स दे राइट. दे आर सुपर स्मार्ट. बट आई एग्री दैट समथिंग व्हिच इज अनयूजुअल, नॉट वेरी मच इन यूज, दोस टॉपिक्स शुड बी अवॉइडेड, राइट? दोस फ्रेजेस, दोस टर्म्स, दोस कॉन्टेक्स्ट. सो ऑब्वियसली टॉपिक्स जो रहेंगे वो डुएबल रहेंगे और रिलेटेबल रहेंगे और ऐसे रहेंगे तो एवरीबडी कैन अटेम्प्ट और राइट अबाउट, बिकॉज वी आर नॉट टेस्टिंग नॉलेज. लेट मी मेक इट वेरी क्लियर हियर दैट इन essay राइटिंग सेक्शन वी डोंट टेस्ट नॉलेज ऑफ स्टूडेंट, बट दैट डजंट मीन यू राइट एनीथिंग एंड एवरीथिंग, राइट? आप एक आर्ग्यूमेंट लेके चल रहे हो और उसको लॉजिकली अपने आर्ग्यूमेंट को लॉजिकली अलाइन कर रहे हो विद योर अंडरलाइन आइडिया, और आप you are giving right claims, reasons, evidence. At the same time, if you are adding any data, you are properly analyzing it and making your piece comprehensive. And even if it is short, it appears complete, you are good.
Got it, sir. Got it. That helps. तो इस बार 3 टॉपिक आएंगे. पिछली बार सर एक रिस्क लाइफ वाला रिस्क वाला, that was an easy one. Rest two were like slightly on the upper side, but yeah,
I guess
but doable.
all are easy. All are easy. We try to keep topics very simple. That's the idea.
एक ही साल हुआ है, पिछले वाले खोल लो तुम. मेरे को सर, मैं भी इंग्लिश पढ़ाता हूँ सर. ठीक है, बट सर इट्स अ गुड स्टेप फॉर श्योर. सर आप अगर मुझे टॉपिक नहीं समझ आया तो आप मेरे से टेस्ट कैसे करोगे कि मैं बंदा कैसा हूँ? इसलिए सर आई पर्सनली फील
हाँ, I agree. So that's a very genuine question.
Great,
also.
sir, great.
I completely agree with you on that.
Superb. Let's talk about the last section again. Elephant in the room number 2. Sir, GK section. पहली बात सर GK पढ़ूं कि ना पढ़ूं? आप तो काउंट करने वाले हो परसेंटाइल में.
नहीं, क्यों नहीं होता है परसेंटाइल में? Obviously it is.
परसेंटाइल में?
It is no, not percentile, but obviously for admissions at XLRI we consider.
At XLRI, हाँ.
So that has to be taken into account. It is exclusively used by XLRI Jamshedpur and XLRI Delhi. Correct. So we use it for our campuses, and they are added only after your interviews. Their scores are added to the final score. So definitely it can give you an edge over others if you score really well in essay or GK, right? So I would say that take it seriously, but it doesn't mean that see the kind of general knowledge we ask in our question paper, that general knowledge is not like we are asking some random facts from some random places. We try to keep it very contemporary with the general knowledge. We try to keep our questions very contextual, right? Even if you know a few things in a question, you can actually relate them to other few and you can arrive at answers. So that is what is the idea. Like, we want to understand if the person is generally aware of what is happening around. And good thing is this year we have actually very clearly stated that there will be 10 static GK questions and there will be around 15 current affair questions, right? And current affairs are like what is generally happening around you. If you have kept your eyes, ears open.
So for 6 months, 1 year, 2 years?
Current affairs are mostly about around 3 to 4 months or 6 months.
3 to 4 months or 6. Pakka, sir?
Yeah.
So I think. Great. Sir, anything else you would like to add to all these 20, 21-year-old kids? Maybe 22, 23, 24. Sir, they're all getting into their MBA journey, writing CAT, XAT, much of the world.
I guess the current generation is superb, right? Like for instance, we call them Gen Zers, right? Lots of discussion is happening on how Gen Zers behave, what they are. Actually, this generation has been living with technology for quite some time. They are actually very well aware. You may find general knowledge difficult, but they already have such general knowledge, right? Because their environment supports that knowledge, right? So I would only say that whatever is happening when it comes to exam, you have to be clear on what you want to achieve. Set your target, set your objectives, right? How you want to achieve those objectives, make a plan, go for it, right? What you can control, you first just focus on that. What you cannot control, don't get worried. There are lots of ways you can actually, you can get distracted by them and they can create anxiety in you. But if you are clear and you are clear on the processes you are going to follow, you can achieve whatever you want to. So focus on what you can control. What you cannot control, don't focus. For instance, when it comes to XAT, you can focus on doing well in verbal, prepare for verbal, doing well in DM, prepare for DM, doing well in quant, prepare for quant, GK, essay, right? What would happen after the exam, that you cannot control, right?
True.
So if you cannot control, don't get worried, right? Keep putting your efforts, best efforts, and I'm sure success will knock your door.
और सुखी रहने का ये सबसे बड़ा सर मंत्रा भी है.
Obviously.
अपना बेस्ट दो, बाकी मैं इनको बोलता सर अपना, मैं इनको बोलता हूँ स्ट्रेटजी मेरी, मेहनत तुम्हारी और भगवान का साथ. You know, end of the day. But at the same time, I have a term which I say, luck is a term coined by losers who could not work hard when it was required the most. So, and these guys loved it. All right, boys and girls, really humbled, sir. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure having you on board, sir. And boys and girls, here, thank you to Convenor Share. It makes us feel really proud that they are coming on board. जहाँ पे एक टाइम हुआ करता था परसेंटाइल भी बाहर नहीं आते थे सर कैट के, एंड टुडे वी आर डिस्कसिंग ऑल दीज थिंग्स विद यू सो दैट यू गाइस कैन डू इट बेटर. एंड डू इट लाइक बटन इफ यू हैव मेनी मोर क्वेश्चंस अबाउट दैट, कौन से कॉलेजेस अप्लाई करने चाहिए, नहीं करने चाहिए, IMT गाजियाबाद जाना है कि नहीं जाना, टॉप में जाना है कि नहीं जाना, XLRI दिल्ली वर्सेस वो मैं बात बताऊंगा वर्सेस दिस और XLRI जमशेदपुर वर्सेस दिस नीचे कमेंट करिए और XAT के बारे में सवाल है आई एम मोर देन हैप्पी टू आंसर योर क्वेश्चन थैंक यू सो मच बॉयज एंड गर्ल्स टेक
Thank
केयर
you.
बाय
Thank
थैंक यू सर टेक केयर बाय
Thank you.